That is Kris Angelis from her new album, Sigh. This is the sixth long player from Kris, who we found at home in Carmel, California, where she explains the origins of the album's title.
Is that you?
I was writing the songs for this record, and I started writing this one song, and it felt very, I stopped myself and I was like, this is so melodramatic, Kris. Like, what, you are being so dramatic. And it's like, and I think that that's fine. Songs are meant to be these, like, you know, snapshots of a feeling. They don't have to be exactly everything, the whole picture. It doesn't have to be all well adjusted. But right. I was kind of like, oh my gosh. And so I called myself out in it. And so the chorus goes, oh dear, oh my, I'm sorry, Sigh, such drama, such poetry. Like I was kind of like calling myself out. Are you rolling your eyes at this epic reprise? Me too. And so that song is called Sigh. And yes. Then we did this whole album. I recorded it in Nashville with these amazing players and my producer, Rachel Moore. It was so awesome to have a female producer. And then actually it was her idea as we were doing the mixing and mastering and stuff. We were like, what do we think we want to call this album? And then it was her idea. She's like, what about Sigh? Because I was trying to think of things, you know, sometimes I use lyrics from one of the songs or whatever, not necessarily the title. But then I was like, yeah, Sigh is actually kind of great because it does kind of it's the feeling of the whole album. There's many kinds of sighs, and and I liked that it was a little cheeky. I liked that it was a little funny because that's kind of has become my whole thing. Is like I write a lot of sad songs, but my persona is pretty happy and bubbly and funny. I think,
and it rhymes with Versailles.
It does, you know. And then I was like, ooh, and then I can have the whole vintage French like Art Nouveau thing, which I love. So right. I'm like, yes.
All right. Now in the song itself, is that whistling I hear in there?
And that was actually the guitar player and owner of the studio that we did it in. He just like started doing that, and we recorded it, and it was great.
For some reason, I'm very impressed with people who can whistle like that on command, especially live and on stage. You know, I mean, it's one thing to be able to blow a trumpet or play the guitar or whatever, but whistling, I don't know, it takes it to a new level.
I don't know. I learned. I don't know why, but when I was very young, I vividly remember being like, I want to learn how to whistle and really working at it. So I am one of those people. I can like whistle a tune.
Yeah. Well, I learned how to whistle when I was 5 years old, and I was on a bus visiting my grandparents in England. We were taking a bus from like Southampton to London. And so once I figured it out on the bus, I was nonstop for the entire bus ride.
I'm sure they all appreciated that.
They loved it. But yeah. All right. But continue on. So you mentioned your producer, Rachel, and the fact that it's kind of cool that it's a female producer person. Why is that important or different or significant for you?
Well, first of all, I think that it's important to use the amazing talent that exists in the music industry that are women that maybe don't get as much credit as they should. You know, like Rachel was for the last 6 or 7 years the main mixer and engineer for T-Bone Burnett. So like all of those records that
I'm impressed already. There you go.
Are amazing. It's like a lot to do with her. And and all the players that she knows and everything. And what was cool about it. So yes, more female empowerment in representation in music. Yes, that.
Okay.
Then, as a woman, there's a lot of things that can go on in the studio in terms of egos. And there are some male musicians and stuff who can come in and have a little bit of, you know, they're like, oh, this woman's trying to tell me what to do. Da, da, da.
Right,
The
yeah.
fact that she brought in all of these men who were playing, who were amazing at their instruments,
Yep.
there was not an ego in sight. They were so respectful,
Right.
so on board with whatever I wanted to do. They were doing their own, they were coming up with ideas, which I was so excited about. And then, but if I was like, no, not that, they were like, oh, okay, how about this? You know, the energy was great. And then the last thing is kind of a joke, but totally serious, is that in the past, when I've been in the studio, there's sort of inevitably going to be a time where and I think a lot of songwriters can relate to this, that I'll start crying about something or about what the album is about, especially if it's a breakup album. And the other producers that I've worked with before have kind of, some of them are like, I guess we're done now. Should we go home?
Right.
And she was like, okay, come on, girl, sit down. Here's a glass of whiskey. Let's talk about it.
Right.
And it was so great because actually there was that moment. We had that moment. We got it all out, talked it all out. And then it was kind of getting late and the rest of the band had gone home. But the guy that I was talking about who owned the studio, Middle Tree Studio in Nashville, was still there. It's his studio.
Yep.
And she was like, hey, Joe, can you come play this song? And we had this whole band, idea for it, but he just came, played the guitar. I stood in the same room with him and sang, and it was just live for one of the songs, How About That? And that's what's on the record. And it just came out of this like raw, emotional thing, and I love that.
Your silence this season is part of the reason I give us another chance. Though it's causing me pain, isn't that strange? It's not just happenstance.
It gets very intimate at the end of that track. It just sounds like you're right there.
Yeah.
It's pretty special sounding. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So in previous sessions and recording events, have you had problems with men and women and egos and kind of mansplaining and things like that?
So to be very fair, I have to shout out my producer that I've worked on my previous 4 albums before this one, Billy Leffler. He's awesome. He was one of the ones who said, was like, oh, you're crying, I guess we should go home now. But other than that, he's super respectful, not trying to and he even said we'd clash heads on ideas or whatever, but he has said to me you really pushed for something and you made me see it differently, and you taught me a lesson. You made me a better producer by hey, maybe you should trust the artist, and not that he's great. And so no, I haven't really had a lot of experience with that. Everyone has some. There's little moments.
Sure. Yep.
But it's not like I've had some traumatic experiences in the studio, thank goodness.
That's good. Yep. Now you mentioned the sisterhood, and I've read that you're a fan of Brandi Carlile, and I think she's got an album coming out very soon after yours.
The week after mine, yeah.
Yeah. So have you managed to communicate, meet each other, listen to each other's music, talk?
Oh yeah.
Commiserate? Yep.
So yeah. I actually have known Brandi for about 20 years, and
nice.
I met her right before she got signed to Columbia.
So
and
you go way back.
Yeah, and she actually came to one of my first shows where I was playing my own songs. I'm playing the guitar and stuff, and it was so amazing because I had seen her on tour. I was became this huge fan. I was there when she was playing these tiny venues, and then she came to see mine, and it was her and her guitar player and bass player and the bartender.
Okay.
and I was playing, and afterwards she goes, Kris, come here, come closer. And I'm like, yes. And she holds my face or my shoulders or something, and she's like, Kris, get it together and be like that all the time. That was awesome. And if you keep doing that, keep going, you're going to be a really great singer-songwriter. And I was like, what a gift to have, right, at my budding little singer-songwriter self, to
Yeah.
have someone like her tell me that, and then to have her and her band like as role models for singing and songwriting and playing. Like her guitar player Tim Hanseroth gave me my first guitar.
Yeah.
Like taught me how to play it. Like, I mean, not my first guitar, but like the one that
Right.
I, really started writing all like
Right.
performing with. I think I had like, little toy ones before, but um, and so yes, we have met,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
she's been extremely influential and supportive.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Now you have a track on your record, "Goodbye, Captain Fantastic." Obviously, a reference to Mr. Elton John himself, but there's probably more to it than that. It's a pretty good track, just without the Elton reference. So tell me what I need to know about it in addition to what I've heard.
Goodbye, Captain Fantastic. I painted this picture of you to keep you close in the dark and capture your spark, so all your little lights can shine through, so you could see you like I do.
Obviously, there's the Elton John sort of reference, but it's not like about him.
Right.
It's about a friend of mine who we sort of jokingly, like an inside joke, that with Captain Fantastic, and there was this piece of art that I saw that I was like, this should be yours. You should have this in your house. And it was just this fantastic, amazing, I mean, no pun intended, but yes, picture of Elton John with all this, glitter, and it was just huge. And he's like, no, I actually love that. I want that. But it was
Right.
$20,000.
Ooh.
And I was like, I bet I could do something like that. And I know that sounds so rude. Like, everyone thinks that, right? Like see art and they're like, I could do that. But I
Yep.
just was like, what if I could? I'm going to try. And I
Right.
scaled it down, and I made it very more like I personalized it to us. And I made this thing. But as I was making it took a little while. Our relationship kind of was fading. Like we were disconnecting. And then that became kind of this not philosophical, metaphorical, like way to stay connected with him, is making this piece of art. And then, so that's what it means when it says like, I made this for you. And so you could see how I see you in this bright, bold, sparkling light, because it felt like it was one of those things where when you try to love someone who kind of deep down feels like they don't deserve that love, and so they can't be there for it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the song is about.
All righty. So when the album comes out on the 17th, what are you going to be doing? You got a big day planned?
Oh man. I don't know for sure. I was maybe gonna be on a little tour, but it's still sort of in the air, like whether or not I might be opening for someone, but I'm not
Right.
sure if that's happening. I might be going to Epcot in Disney World, because I have a friend who is in Hanson's band.
Right.
Band Hanson, like Mbop, and they're playing there, and they invited me to come.
Them here fairly recently. They've come to New Zealand.
Yeah. So I might be in Disney World with Hanson.
Yep. Because they were like your first big band that you got into, right?
Yes, they were my main kind of catalyst towards the love of wanting to be a musician. Because before them, I thought musicians were these magical, otherworldly creatures. And then when I saw them, I was like, wow, you can actually be a musician? Okay, let's go.
So when you do play out, are you playing with a band? Is it solo? What's the
Usually
thing
it's solo,
right?
just because it's easier and less expensive.
Yeah.
I wish, I wish with my little soul that I had a band that was like just wanted to be my band, and like we just make whatever money we make. But the people that I am so fortunate to call my friends and musicians that I play with at times are extremely talented, and they play with huge artists, and I can't afford them all the time. They deserve to be paid. But I did play with them at my Hotel Cafe release show last week.
Good.
It's really fun when I get to do that. Yeah.
And is what you're wearing part of your merch?
Oh, it is. Yes. And it says on the back, it says such drama, such poetry.
Oh, that's great.
And it has there's actually a poem in I can show you. This is the vinyl. And
Oh, great.
On the inside, there's a poem that includes all of the song titles, and that's on this too.
Ah,
Yeah.
all happening. Well, you got to make a buck anywhere you can with the merch, with the vinyl. Yeah.
And I also just like to do those kinds of, I know that it's very like Taylor Swift coded now. She does it like crazy, like crazy in a good way. But
Yep.
I was doing this from the beginning, like when I was putting out EPs and stuff before I even knew she was doing that, like
Right.
creating these deeper meanings and layers hidden messages and stuff. And it is fun. And that's why people love it. So
Yep. Are you a Swiftie?
I am. Yes, I am.
There you go. It's nice to hear somebody just unabashedly admit it.
Yeah. Why not?
Because I hear there's a few of them out there.
One or two.
What do you think of the new album?
I like it. It's different than her previous one, obviously, but she's in a completely different place, and she's gotten back to this like sparkly bop. Like obviously, she's deliriously happy, and it's fun to try to relate to her in that way as well.
Right.
And I've felt the same. This album is kind of my tortured poets department.
Gotcha.
Sigh. And then while I was making that record, much like she has the situation, I got together with my now fiance.
Yep.
And so I'm feeling like we're on this very similar journey. So I do relate very much to it. And I think it's great and sassy and it's fun.
If you enjoyed this episode of the 13th Floor's Music Talk series, please be sure to subscribe to the website or to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram and wherever you find your podcasts. There's a whole lot more to discover.